Hey, it's Becca, and I actually just got it through looking over my portfolio and thinking of how much of a rigorous process this has been, but how thankful I am that I've had to do it. So now that it's fresh on my brain, I think I'm ready to do my screencast over it. When I started this, I had to make the decision if I wanted to do it in a Word document or if I wanted to do it in a PowerPoint. And I ended up picking a Word document over PowerPoint simply because it was easier for me to flip through and make changes to, and just what I chose. So the first thing that we did was the Common Core State Standard and Content Area Standards for our assessment unit plan. And looking back on that, that was the third week of school, and I remember thinking, what is an assessment and how am I going to use this? So September 2nd, I submitted this, and I ended up doing a writing standard. And so as you can see, my writing standard was one aspect of it was to write informative explanatory text to examine a topic and convey ideas and information clearly. And then there were the ABCDE that went along with it. And then my content standard, I did global economy, which is also grade 4, that students will analyze economic interdependence within a global economy. So I went and I tried to tie in the analyzing in with the informative and the explanatory essay, and it worked out pretty good. And then I put the Common Core State Standard and all that good stuff. So I survived. The second thing that we did in your class was the performance assessment in the form of one checklist and one rubric in week 4. And thinking back on my high school career and when I've used a checklist and when I've used a rubric, I don't think I realized the importance of it until I took this class. So here's my checklist I did. And I tried to think of things that I had seen before, and I kind of looked at some rubrics at work. And so one of them was, do I have an introduction sentence? Is my introduction easy to read? Do I have details? Do I have quotes and examples? So just typical things that you would hope a student would put in their essay, I tried to include in my informative and explanatory checklist. And the only reason I did informative and explanatory is because that's what I had used above, and I was trying to tie everything in. It also has the standards over here to the right that I also found like online and looking at other rubrics. And here's my checklist. My rubric, sorry. And I kind of like the 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of but 80 to 100 and all that. I just liked it. And so I just did quality, quantity, neatness, and spelling and punctuation. And I just did a 4th grade rubric because, like I said, I'm just trying to tie everything in. So that was my second assignment, was the checklist and the rubric. And I actually got those 2 things laminated. I got a couple things laminated, but those were 2 of the things. The third thing we did was the learning styles assessment for children in week 5. And looking back on my high school career, the teachers that did the learning style assessment and what's your true color and all that good stuff, they're the teachers that I like the most. So when we came in, when we did this, I knew that this class and you personally would be someone that I like the most. So here's the link that I used to find the learning style quiz. And then when I read through the question, there were questions that I could truly answer with no issue. I don't think anyone would have a problem answering these, and it was kind of lengthy. So I made little things about when you're angry, what do you do? When you're happy, what do you do? When you hear the word cat, what's the first thing you think of? When you hear a song, just different things like that. So it was pretty important. And the type of learner disorder decided that I was not what I was. So I can see how that can help my students and help me as a teacher. The assignment in week 6 was the self-evaluation and the peer evaluation. And this is what I decided to do. I decided to use the same for the peer and my own as the same rubric, just change it up a little bit. So when you put the group members, I think it's great for your students to be able to judge their own group members, but I also think they should have to judge themselves, because I don't think anyone should carry the whole weight, and then some people fall behind and still get a passing grade. So that's what I put. My own performance, I put I participated in group work, I maintained focus on the task at hand, offered help to others, I asked questions that moved the discussion along, I contributed ideas, just things that I would wish to do. The next thing we did was the diagnostic assessment tool, which when I read this assignment, I was like, what is that? But it was easy, and I figured it out. So, and my PDF is not here, so I'll have to get back with that on the very end. But what I did is that I went online and I had to find a diagnostic tool that I liked for younger ages, and I actually did find one, and it was great. But the issue was is that you couldn't insert the PDF into the PowerPoint or the Word document. So I'm going to pull it up at the very end of this. So we'll skip week 6 for now. I'm getting there, I promise. Week 8 was an assessment in which students may use technology. I think technology is one of the biggest assets that we can use in our classrooms, and I think if we don't take full advantage of that, then that's our fault. The one I did, I almost did the one I did in class, but I decided to do Class Dojo because I actually had saw this during a field experience, and I was very impressed. And what Class Dojo is it's a website or an app that you can use, and it's kind of a behavior thing, and you talk with your class and you decide things that you would like to see in your classroom and things that you wouldn't like to see, and they get graded upon that. So you get to add points and take away points, and it's pretty cool to see how it all plays out, and you get to decorate your character, and it's just really fun. It was really cool. Like I said on the bottom, I was confused on the assignment at first, but you told me that I was right. So the next assignment was the teacher made and the modified formative in week 9. And I love talking about modifications because I didn't realize how many there were, and I do want to actually be a special needs teacher. That's what I plan on getting my master's in. So what I did is I did the test, and I put below you'll find 2 tests. One is normal and one is modified. On the normal test, there are 4 multiple choice answers, and on the modified test, there are only 2. I know this is a bit more fair to modify because how our special needs took their test in high school. I thought it was very fair. So I have my test, and I have A, B, C, D, and I just tried to think of questions that I could answer easily and that most people could answer easily. I was sitting in a science class when I was working when I actually did it. So you see that all of these have 4. I think I only did 5 questions. And then getting to the modified, they're just going to have B. A and B, sorry. So you can see it would be easier for a student to pick out of 2. That's kind of a 50-50 chance versus if you picked out of 4. So I like that modification. I do think it's fair. I do think that they have to learn the answer. It's not just giving them, but it's giving them a better chance if they don't know it, because it might not come easy to all. The next one that I did was, the teacher made summative and the teacher made modified. And I think I'm getting down there, I did the same exact process because before I did this assignment, we hadn't quite talked about all the modifications, and now look, there's so many that I could have done. So I just did the same thing. I did a question, and there were 4. Some of them even have 5, I think. And then I just did 2 on the next. Sorry that it's not anything different. But like I said, my high school did modifications like this, and my students at work do modifications like this. And I wish that I would have done something different now that I know all the different ones, but I'm not going to beat myself over that. So here's the modification. Like it says, only 2 options instead of 4. Number 3, you can tell that they still have to know if they are accept and accept. So as you can see how important it was for us to learn all these things, and I am thankful that I had the opportunity to take this class, or it was required for us to take this class, because without it, I would have been very lost. I wouldn't have known how much data I needed to collect it. I wouldn't know how the diagnostic, the formative, and the summative assessments could help me in my future classroom. I wouldn't know about what it takes to build a rubric and a checklist. There are so many things that I wouldn't have known without this class. So, like I said, I'm just thankful for it. Um, there's my portfolio in a gist. Thank you, Dr. Shahan, for all that you've done this semester.